Epic moves in the precious metals markets, gold, silver, precious metal mining stocks, but we could only be beginning. We could be early on, second or third inning of a 9-inning baseball game. We're going to look at all the reasons why, examples why. Things are changing like never before for the precious metals. Mainstream media, big name people, big financial institutions. We've got a plethora of examples to look at. But first, I do want to say thank you for joining me again. This is the second try on this live stream. The first one, we had some technical issues so thank you for all of you for joining me here in the basement. It's a big deal. You choose to be here. We're a community. We're basement dwellers. We love to talk about gold and silver. Please subscribe to the channel. That's free. But let's talk about why we could still be early in what could be more than just a month or a quarter. But let's look at things like decade-long bull market for the precious metals. Let's go out first to CNBC. And there's a reason why it's important for us to realize that when CNBC is talking about silver, our ears are going to perk up. $100 silver, analysts say the metal could easily double from its current record highs. Yes, we're talking about $100 silver, and CNBC, the mainstream of mainstream financial media, is bringing that up. But it's more than that, because when we look at the data behind this, we have big name people, big name financial institutions now talking about $100 silver. Analysts see silver doubling from record highs to $100. Guys, get a load of this. In yellow, this is Paul Sims from Invesco, said that gold's record-smashing run earlier this year, and let's get the right screen up for you. Sorry about that, guys. Gold's record-smashing run from earlier this year led traders to rotate into other metals. Interest in silver picked up when the gold-to-silver ratio moved above 100x after the post-Liberation Day gold rally, he said Friday, right? We were at 100x gold, 100 ounces of silver to get 1 ounce of gold. Are you kidding me? Right now we're around 80. But the important thing to remember is that historically that ratio has been as low as 50 or 30. It says the only time the ratio has been above 100x this century was during the pandemic, and that was followed by sharp reversals. Sims also added that until now, silver hadn't hit a record since 2011, while gold has seen 39 new highs. So what he's saying is gold has led the way, but we are just now getting started with silver. In red, Sims said investors are treating silver as both a store of value and a strategic commodity. And I don't know, this webpage, I'm going to refresh it one more time because I've got more I want to share with you from this, but we can come back to it. Let's see if I can get it to, here we go. This is a tricky web page for some reason. There we go. Forecasts suggest $100 silver. Basically, what we have here, guys, are big name people. Paul Williams, managing director at Solomon Global, agreed that silver's move is being powered by fundamentals, not speculation. Okay, a deepening structural deficit. He also said and described this rally as being driven by, quote, real world focuses, contrasting it with the speculative surge of 1980. This time really is different, okay? It's always different, but people will say, yeah, but in the end, it's the same. No, what we're experiencing right now in silver on many levels is different. From the fundamental supply-demand imbalance that we have to the world geopolitically changing like never, ever before, from the tech boom, all the industrial uses of silver, from the fact that, think about it, from a fiscal perspective, there's more debt in the world. There's more debt in the United States than any other time. And the icing on top, the cherry on top of the sundae, geopolitically, the world is way different now than it was in 1980, right? In 1980, China and India were a sliver of what they were today. All right, we're going to move on to more. Okay, if we talked about CNBC and how important that is, right? Mainstream media, mainstream big name people in the institutional investment side now talking about silver, right? They're also talking about gold. CNBC. But what does the Wall Street Journal? Do you think silver made it to the Wall Street Journal? Well, let's take a look at this. This was shared by our channel friend, Mr. Chris Marcus from Arcadia Economics, who's waited a few decades to see the Wall Street Journal say this. And what they said is the silver price just hit their first record since 1980. Even the Wall Street Journal is reporting on what is an epic period. And the reason why that's important, again, guys, is this is getting the attention, right? Not of you, not of me, right? We've been paying attention to silver and gold likely for a decade. Maybe some of you are new, and that's great. Welcome to this community. Welcome to the gold and silver community. You're going to love it. You're going to learn so much. But those big articles on CNBC, those big articles in the Wall Street Journal are important because your neighbors, right, your relatives, your Uncle Dick, your Aunt Sally, that don't care about gold and silver, that would snarl at you at Thanksgiving dinner when you would talk about gold and silver, they are now learning and being woken up. We like to, in a very heartwarming way, like to refer to that class of people as the sheeple. Right? And remember, and we got so much more data to look at during this live stream, but remember, right, that the amount of people, the percentage of people in the United States, even throughout the world, that are invested in precious metals is small. So it's just going to take a little percentage increase. If we go from 2% of the world's population to, let's say, 6%, right, which is still historically low, that's like 3 times more people, and that's new money coming in to precious metals. That's all new money. That's not people that have been in precious metals. We're talking about 2, 3, 4, 5 time potential more people coming in, all with new money. Think about that, right? That could be like trying to drain Hoover Dam with a garden hose. All right, what about $128 silver? I think that was on the thumbnail for this. One is silver at $128 right now. Some people are arguing that it is. Let's go out here. Uh-oh, did I lose it? Here we go. Sorry about that. Now we're on the right page. This was a viral tweet that went around. This comes from the Silver Academy. Silver's new world order, $128.50 per ounce silver price in China becomes the global price. And here's the tweet that everybody's talking about from the Oriental Ghost, who is a very well-respected figure in the precious metal sector and very well connected in China. He said, Xubei Market's largest online trading platform, Rongtong Gold, has stopped selling silver sheets. China's largest e-commerce, JD.com, that's the Chinese equivalent of Amazon in the United States, is almost all merchants taking down raw silver. Only one is for sale with a price of $108 per ounce, and the small raw bar is selling for $128 per ounce. That's what they're selling silver as of this post in China on their equivalent of Amazon.com. Then he brings up some great points. If silver in green is fetching prices as high as $108 per ounce for raw silver and $128 per ounce for small raw bars in China, the world's largest physical silver market. Remember that. That's important, right? China, the world's largest physical silver market, then the price is effectively the new global benchmark. In red, since China represents such a dominant portion of physical silver demand, right? The pricing mechanism for silver and gold, for that matter, is moving to the east. The pricing seen there acts like a gravitational pull, aligning global silver prices across borders. In other words, if sellers can get these premium prices in China, those levels inevitably ripple outward, making the Chinese price effectively the price everywhere else in the world. That comes from John Little at the Silver Academy. He's a great gold and silver analyst as well. Guys, think about this with silver. What he said, the reason why that's important is because what he said is true about silver. It is worldwide Okay. It's not just in the United States. It's not just in Europe. It's not just in, no, it is valuable everywhere. It's one of the oldest, but also one of the largest markets in the world. Silver and gold, for that matter, permeate the entire world. So if one of the major players, right, China and India for that matter, but we'll focus on China, right? If the price of physical silver is reaching those prices, what he's saying is true. That permeates throughout the rest of the world. Buckle up, buttercups, because we could be in for a super wild ride. Silver is being sucked into China. Silver is being sucked into India. They import all their silver, and they're one of the world's largest importers of silver, if not the largest. These countries are setting the silver price. This is not just a COMEX and LBO, the price of silver on the COMEX and the LBMA. Who cares? That's Fantasy Island silver. It's exactly what that is. You know what? While we're on that subject, let's go out and take a look. We'll do that in a second. We'll go out and take a look at the silver price. But it's not just that. Hold on. There's more in John's article. I apologize. He gave us a brief update of what is going on in terms of the shortages around the world. We'll go through this quickly because this is a fast evolving story. The Royal Canadian Mint, okay, and TD.com in blue, their flagship retail bank and bullion provider, show every single product as unavailable. No silver in Canada. Southern Hemisphere shock. We got the same thing from the iconic Perth Mint in Australia. They stopped selling silver across their entire retail and wholesale catalog. Is there more? Oh, sure, there's more. Why don't we go to Asahi Fine, a major Japanese precious metals retailer with global distribution, is all sold out of silver. Ignatz, we're hearing things about issues in India, right? Stopping additional shares of ETFs that invest in physical silver, stopping them from being created. We're hearing stories out of the United States where the amount of American Silver Eagle production this year has been down. In the US, there's still not a shortage. I'm telling you, all the silver is going from the United States over to China and India. So it's absolutely crazy. Let's switch over to gold for a second, my fellow basement dwellers, because gold is the granddaddy of precious metals, right? Gold is the leader. And when we've got another major bank now talking about $5,000 gold, we want to investigate this. Let's quickly go out and see what Société Générale, the big French bank, is telling us to expect from gold. And here we go. This came from Metals and Miners. SocGen, all that glitters is fear, as $5,000 gold is now increasingly inevitable. Guys, these are the biggest financial institutions in the world saying this. Right? 2 paragraphs I want to read you in purple. Conservative projection of the yellow metals medium term, easy for me to say, investment demand suggests the price could reach $5,000 per ounce by the end of next year, according to commodity analyst at Société Générale. The French banking giant's latest commodity research report was published on Monday. An analyst said that the gold price appears poised to gain another $1,000 in relatively short order. I think that's here we go. This is good. Buckle up in red. They said, quote, "We now see prices reaching $5,000 per ounce for gold by the end of 2026, as the rate of flows has surpassed our initial assumptions." It's talking about investors moving into ETFs, despite having no clarity on positioning of hedge funds. So they don't even know what the big hedge funds are doing. We have observed what can only be described as extremely strong, admittedly higher than we forecasted, positive ETF flows in the last few weeks. Why is this increase in flows happening now? We have previously noted a strong relationship between ETF flows and uncertainty levels since the Trump victory in November, and believe for now this is to be a critical factor in understanding part of the price action everywhere we go. Okay. And now other big names, more evidence. Even more evidence, guys. It's the big financial institutions. It's the world central banks. It's you name it. Everywhere we look, we're getting evidence. You want more evidence? Here's more evidence for you. And hold on here. Things got out of order. Here we are. I believe this is it. Yes, from Wall Street Mav. And I'm going to tell you why getting this news from Wall Street Mav is a little bit shocking. He said, if you don't already own physical silver, it's likely too late to get more. Globally, silver mines produce less silver per year than is consumed by industry. We already knew that. We've been consuming the above ground reserves for many years. The game is ending. Okay, we knew all that. But what's important here, and the reason why I'm showing you this, is this right here. When we go over his profile on X, this person has 1.6 million followers, and he's not a gold and silver bug. He's not a gold and silver maxi. He describes himself as finance, economics, news, memes, and that. These are big names that aren't traditional gold. These are new people getting new exposure out there for the gold and silver community. And then, of course, there's this, right? Max Kaiser, who many of you may remember years and years ago, 8 years, 9 years, 10 years ago, was the biggest gold and silver maxi, a well-known celebrity in the precious metals sector, who then went to crypto and now is just recently come back and is talking about $500 silver. There's a tweet from him, right? How many followers does Max have, I wonder? Only 650,000 followers. Hold on one second. I'm going to take a quick drink of water. My voice instrument is malfunctioning. And it's important we recognize this, right? People that have look, between Max Kaiser and the last person we looked at, they have 2 million people following them on the X platform. Okay. And then let's look at some crazy news. On Monday night, they smashed down the silver price. Those good people at the COMEX and the LBMA decided it was time, right, to try to push the silver price down. You were likely asleep, right? In the United States, it was like 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. But what is absolutely shocking and incredible about this is the amount of paper silver that they traded in an attempt to tamp down, to push down the silver price. Boy, if we're not having technical problems today, I'm having voice problems. But let's dig into this. This comes from the Bubble Report. Jesse Colombo, one of the best, one of the most respected. Let's pull it up here. There he is, the Bubble Report, Substack. And he says silver maintains its breakout despite turbulence. And there's 2 key things we want to look at in this report from Jesse. And this is just the free section of his Substack. But before we get into something that's shocking, these shocking numbers, let's do a quick review of the beautiful 1980 Hunt Brothers spike, right? And the 2011 spike that created a massive cup. Then we had a handle. And guys, right here, as he says, and he shows on this chart, and you've seen it, but we can't look at it enough. We have broken out of the cup and handle, the most epic, most reliable technical analyst chart pattern in the history of the world. That's one for the textbooks. And there's an extra bonus on top that the longer the period of time that the cup and handle forms, the more reliable, the more powerful the breakout will be. But he said this on about what happened on Monday night. Silver ended Monday on a strong note, with the COMEX silver futures finally breaking above the $50 level and reaching as high as approximately $52.50 per ounce. But then a sudden and aggressive price slam occurred starting at roughly 1:20 a.m. New York time. This occurred well outside regular trading hours when most traders were tucked away comfortably and asleep. Liquidity was very, very thin. In purple, at that moment, at 1:20 a.m., at least 20,000 silver future contracts, also known as paper silver or Fantasy Island silver, paper make-believe silver, were dumped onto the market. This triggered a sharp sell-off that drove the price below the key $50 level. So in the middle of the night, early Tuesday, yesterday morning, silver went below $50 per ounce, with silver sinking as low as $48.75 within just 1 hour. 1 hour. That volume of contracts represented 100 million troy ounces of silver, or nearly 12% of global annual production. In 1 hour, in an attempt to beat down the silver price, they traded the equivalent of 12% of the global annual production of all the silver miners of silver. He says, in my view, this was a deliberate price suppression effort orchestrated by major bullion banks such as JP Morgan and UPS. You can read more at the Bubble Substack. It's a great article. Jesse is a great author, and I thank him for providing us with that incredible data. 1 hour, right? 1 hour, they trade what? And here's another way to think about it. In 1 hour, right, they traded 1 in 8 ounces that will be produced over the entire year by the global, maybe 1 in 8.2, but you get my point, by the global silver mining sector. And did they win? Let's go take a look. Let's see. Do I have CNBC up here? I think I do. Let's go take a look, because let's see where silver is right now. You know what? First, let's go out to Kitco and look at the spot price of silver. Silver's up $1 right now at $52.60 on Kitco. This is the world spot price. So this would tell us what the price of silver is right now for immediate delivery, $52.58. And if we go out to the futures price, we are at $51.47, $51.50. Basically, guys, we still are in a state of backwardation, meaning that the spot price, make sure I got that right. Yes, the spot price is still about $1 more than what we see here in the futures market. And we know this is the futures because of this right here, right? It's the December contract. So this is silver for delivery in December. But while we're out here looking at the chart, there's a 1 year, that's the 1 year chart of silver. Wow, what a beauty. Okay, steady increase. But even if we go out 5 years, was there a spike? Was there a sudden increase in the silver price that we have to be afraid of, a sudden downdraft? Let's see what things look at when we broaden out. Man, okay, we can't look at this enough. Really starting when? Oh, maybe July, maybe about 3 years ago. Depends on when you want to start. But just a really beautiful increase. Now, the rate of increase here certainly has gone up quite a bit, but I would not qualify that as being a spike. The reason we want to stay away from, let me draw it in blue so it matches the chart here. If that blue line, had gone like this, right, a sudden spike up, this would have been the next step. Anything that spikes straight up. But as you can see, again, we've had a relatively consistent and long-term increase in the silver price, right? This right here, a spike up, that would be a squeeze, a silver squeeze, like we had in 1980-ish type range, or it was driven on speculation, or we had in 2011 when it was driven on speculation. What we have instead, let me erase some of this, with that red line that you're looking at, is what I would like to call a squeeze, right? A long-term, steady increase in the price of silver, not a sudden upward, violent move up. Hey, I do want to say thank you to channel sponsor First Mint for sponsoring the Ron's Basement gold and silver content. You can see their logo right there. They're owned by First Majestic Silver, who mines silver in Mexico, ships it to First Mint in Las Vegas, Nevada, and then it goes directly to you, from the mine to the mint to you. They've got great selection. Check them out at their website, firstmint.com.
We have almost 200 likes.
All right, let's get 200 thumbs up, guys. We got 1,000 people on here, and I'll ring the gong. Thank you. Thumbs up, please. Thank you. Great, but First Mint, great selection, great prices, free shipping. Last time I checked, on any orders over $299. It's a company you can trust, ultimately headed by Keith Neumeyer. Oh, and there's a discount code that you can use, VIP, very important person, RB, Ron's Basement. VIP RB. And of course, thank you to First Mining Gold. It's a stock I owned long before they sponsored my channel. They're a development stage gold company in Canada. They have two huge projects, Du Parquet in Quebec and Springpole in Ontario. You can learn more about them at firstmininggold.com. Don't forget, I'm not a financial advisor. Stocks, metals, bonds, real estate, cryptocurrency, you name it, everything is risky. Do your own research. And always please be responsible with any financial or investment decisions that you may or may not.
You got it.
Okay.
248.
All right. We got the 200 thumbs up, but we got more to talk about, guys. We got a lot more to talk about. We even have this came out a day or so ago. I don't have an update on it for you, but this is interesting. And there's a big reason why I find this very, very interesting. This came from Brian Kuzmar. All right, now wait, because there's a reason why this is a little bit shocking. He says, this is crazy. I've just suspended all silver sales at my company, commercial rare coins and precious metals. This has never happened to me before, not even in 1980. Now, this was as of October 13th, so Monday. 3 reasons. I cannot hedge, cannot find product, and cannot figure out premiums. Don't sell, folks. Okay. He says, don't sell, folks. Now, why is this important? Because if you go over his profile, what you see is he's a nationally known second generation precious metals and rare coin dealer since 1977. Wholesale and retail, buying, selling, and he's an expert in physical markets. He's been at this since 1977. And he says right there, one more time, this has never happened to me ever, not even in 1980. I want to share with you what we have coming down the road, predictions that I agree with, okay, with the overall market. Look, we've had bubbles in the past that have burst. Okay, guys, what we have now, and there's a reason why this relates directly to the precious metals, is an everything bubble. Have you heard that term yet? Everything is in a bubble. And the reason why is because we have a bubble in the debt markets and we have a bubble in the US dollar. We can look at the US debt clock and clearly see we're approaching $38 trillion in debt. We know that the dollar is now essentially based on that debt. Okay. Any new dollars that are being created, you can, I think, safely say are being created through debt, right? We are in a debt bubble where everything, like we had the tech bubble in year 2000, we had the real estate bubble in 2008 that crashed. We've had other bubbles in the past. Right now, we are in an everything bubble. And the reason it's an everything bubble is because the mechanism that we use to price everything, the US dollar itself, if you agree with me and what some other big analysts are saying, it is the bubble. The dollar is the bubble. So just be prepared. Now, silver and gold, right? They've been around a few more years than any fiat currency, paper money, US dollar, the Venezuelan, what is it? Bolivar, the euro, the yen, anything. Gold and silver have been around a lot longer than any of those. So we will likely be okay. But I wanted to introduce to you that concept that right now, the bubble that we have is the US dollar, is the debt in the world. Okay. And and I don't want to see apocalypse. I don't like the situation that we're in, but when it rectifies itself, what we're likely going to see, right, is maybe not a quote unquote crash in the stock market, right? But we may see a sudden downdraft or maybe who knows, right? I'm not saying we're going to wake up to a worthless dollar. I'm not going to preach zombies walking around or anything like that. But instead of the real estate prices crashing, instead of the stock market crashing, the value of the dollar could go down significantly, which would be like very high inflation, right? That's why people like you, people like me like to protect ourselves with silver and with gold. Wow, we've got well over 1,000 people on this live stream, over 200 thumbs up. Thanks to my lovely assistant upstairs, Susie. Everybody say hi to Susie. Let's ring the gong 3 times. Like we always do, one of our goofy traditions. Hey, thank you for joining me. Please subscribe to the channel. We appreciate when you join us down here in the basement. It's a wonderful, wonderful community. Leave a comment in the comment section. It'll give us a chance to learn from each other. But most important, be well. And I'll look forward to seeing you next time down here in the basement.